Hello everyone, my name is Will Bennett. I'm a structural applications engineer with DRD Technology, and today I'll be showing off an Archard wear demo in Ansys Mechanical using contact formulation. Within Mechanical, we're going to have a 2D axisymmetric model, but here we have a 3D representation of that model. The idea is that it is a static steel ring underneath a copper ring that's being pressed against it and rotated against it. We're going to have a few assumptions in this model, one being that the copper ring will wear much more relative to the steel ring, so we're not worried about the wear on the steel ring. And another is we're going to exaggerate the physics a little bit in order to see the wear occur within a reasonable time frame. On the right, you'll see the cross-section of this 3D representation, and we'll have this bottom rectangle represent the steel ring, and this semicircle represent the copper ring, and it'll be rotated about this y-axis of symmetry. So coming into Mechanical, here we have our 2D axisymmetrical cross-section, as well as the reference coordinate system that it will be rotated about to give us an idea of what it's supposed to represent. The reason we're doing a 2D representation here is just to cut down on computational cost. This method can be applied just as easily to 3D solids, but for now we're keeping it two-dimensional because the 3D solids tend to take a little longer to solve. The setup is pretty simple. All we have is a fixed support applied to the bottom steel ring to keep it constrained, and we have a remote displacement applied to the copper ring on top. There's going to be 3 steps to this analysis. For the first step, we're just going to ramp down the copper ring onto the steel ring a little bit to apply some contact pressure. From seconds 1 to 4 for the second step, we're going to actually be applying the Archard wear function. So during this, we're going to ramp down a little bit just to maintain a constant contact pressure. The last second, we're going to cease the Archard wear and lift off a bit so we can see the new geometry that is worn away and see how much that is worn away relative to how it started. We have a few mesh controls just to make sure that it is sufficiently fine near the surfaces and that contact detection is good. And so now we want to insert our actual Archard wear function. And to do so, there's no button or boundary condition or anything we can insert within Mechanical that will allow us to do that. We actually have to do so within the contact formulation itself under a commands APDL object. So here we've defined a frictionless contact between our copper and steel ring. This contact needs to be defined as either frictionless or frictional in order for Archard wear to function. There's a few other things in the contact formulation to keep in mind. For one, we mentioned that we're only worried about the wear of the copper ring. So we're going to change this behavior to be asymmetric. This means that contact elements will only be created on the contact side, which we have designated as the copper ring, which means that only Archard wear will occur on this body. You can do two-sided Archard wear, in which case you want to change that to symmetric behavior. And you can also change different material values within the Archard wear function itself in order to have different wear rates for different materials. Another thing to keep in mind is the detection method. We found that nodal normal to target is the best contact detection method for Archard wear. The rest we want to keep default and program controlled. We then want to insert Archard wear under a commands object. You can do so by right-clicking the contacts, inserts, and commands. So within this command object is where we're actually calling the Archard wear function. We're doing so with this arcd command object. And above it, we're defining different constants that are used in the Archard wear equation. For one, we are inserting our sliding velocity, which we have converted from rotational to linear. And you'll notice we're defining sliding velocity as a constant. That's because there is no actual sliding velocity occurring in the simulation, but we still want to simulate wear as if it were to be happening. When inserting these values, you want to make sure they're consistent with the unit system and workbench when this object was created, which can be found up here. And you want to make sure this unit system is the same as the one currently being used within Mechanical. If you want more information on what these APDL command objects do, you can find it in the APDL command object reference documentation provided by Ansys. So what this is doing is it's using the Archard wear equation, which calls the sliding velocity, the contact pressure, material hardness, and a material K constant in order to calculate how much wear occurs over a substep. Once it calculates this, it will physically move the contact elements in the direction and magnitude calculated by the Archard wear equation, and it'll change the mesh as a result. And so you may be thinking, well, what happens if more wear occurs than an element length? Will these elements be removed or will they be destroyed? What really happens is it can sort of collapse in on itself and lead to convergence issues. So in order to maintain a good aspect ratio to continue with convergence, we have inserted a commands object within our boundary conditions. This calls for the nonlinear adaptive command object. What this is saying is that if these contact elements, as a result of the wear calculated by the Archard wear equation, move half of their element length, it will remesh as to maintain a good aspect ratio. And we'll be able to see this within the results. So after running the simulation, we can see it solves in about 2.5 minutes. And if we view the total deformation, we can see how much wear actually occurred on the body. Especially when comparing it to the undeformed geometry, we can see the significance of this even over 3 seconds of wear. If we view this normal stress animation, we can see this happen in real time. So we're ramping down to apply pressure. We're calling the Archard wear now, and see the mesh moving down and the contact area increasing. Then we're pulling up to view the deformed mesh. One thing you may notice is there's some penetration that occurs between these two bodies. This is a limitation of the nonlinear adaptive meshing, as it seems to remesh past the steel ring. And while visually this may look like an issue, the values it gives for wear will be valid. If you want to view these wear values, you'll have to do so within a user-defined results. One thing you want to make sure before you solve is that under analysis settings and output controls, you have contact miscellaneous set to yes, as we are calling the contact miscellaneous 87 expression to get the y direction of wear. You can also get the x direction, z direction, and total wear volume. Another thing you want to keep in mind is to make sure that the input unit system, which is defined upon the creation of this user-defined result, is consistent with the unit system within mechanical. There is no unit given within your user-defined result for the value of wear. That's because it'll end up being the base length unit for your input unit system, in our case millimeters. If you play the animation, you'll see the amount of wear increase and then sort of go back to 0 and fluctuate a little bit. This is because the maximum value of wear goes back to 0 every time it remeshes, which occurs about 9 times in this simulation. If you want the total maximum value of wear throughout the simulation, you need to go through the tabular data and add each of the peak wear values that occur before this remesh happens. This is a bit of a limitation of the user-defined result, but it will give you an accurate wear value. This concludes our demo model of Archard wear in Ansys Mechanical.